Hey, good morning, everyone. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. This should be review. So even if you don't fully remember, hopefully once I get going, it'll trigger your memory. So if you look at today's assignment, it's called reviewing slope-intercept form. And all that means is we're going to be working with y equals mx plus b. So if you remember, that's just the equation for a line in slope-intercept form where the slope is m, which is our rise over run, and then B is the y-intercept. So let's take a look at a few examples here. So here I have a table, and in that table, you're going to see a series of points. And so you'll notice right here, if I think about what that is, in case you've forgotten, I'll label them here. So you have a y-axis and you have an x-axis. And if we look for our y-intercept, that's where it's crossing the y-axis. And so right there, I can see it's crossing at 6. So whenever I have an x-intercept, because it's on the y-axis, the x value is always going to be 0, and y is going to have a value, in this case 6. Now I got to think, from here to the next point, notice how the x value changes to 2, and the y value changes to 5. And so what that would mean is I'm going from 0 to 2, so over 2, and then I'm going from 6 down to 5, and so that would be a change of -1. And so if I think about the equation here, and I type y equals -1 slash 2, there's my fraction, x. Notice how I now have an angled line, and it seems to match the angle of these points. The only difference is it's going through the center here and not through up here. So if I throw in a +6, there I have it. So once again, it was going down 1 over 2, so my slope is -1 over 2. If you had just said 1 over 2, notice how you would have had an upward sloping line, and that just doesn't match. And so if I include the negative, all of a sudden I now have a slope that works. All right, cool. That's one example. Let me turn those off. All right, here's another possible set of values. So here's my table 2. I gave you 3 points in this case. And so once again, if I take a look, here is my y-intercept, so at -3. And then if I go, notice how it jumps up to 3, 2. So if I'm thinking about that, it's going over 3. And then from -3 to 2, it's going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. And so I'm betting 5 over 3, that's going to be my fraction. Sure enough, that looks angled correctly. I can write plus -3, that's totally okay. So I'm adding my y-intercept because it's crossing the y-axis at -3, but a cleaner way to write it would just be to put -3. It's going to do the same exact thing. All right, one last pointer I want to make is we went from here to here and said it's over 3, up 2. But what if instead I'd gone from here all the way to here? So now the x value goes from 0 to 6. So I think I'd change this to 6. And then the y value goes from -3 to 7, which would really be a change of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this would change to 10. Notice how I get the same exact line. So it doesn't matter what 2 points you choose for your slope. If you think about the fraction 10 over 6, really that reduces back to 5 over 3 because I can divide top and bottom by 2. And so it's really the same fraction, it's just not reduced in the other form. All right, cool. Then the last situation I want to talk about is what if I only gave you 2 points? So in this case, I'm giving you the point 0, 5 and 7, 7. This one should be pretty straightforward just because you have 2 points and one's the y-intercept. So I know I'm going over 7 from 0 to 7, and then up 2 from 5 to 7. So here, once again, it looks like it's angled correctly. Now deal with my y-intercept of 5 plus 5, And there we have it. However, this is going to have to do with a more challenging situation. Maybe I give you 2 points. Well, didn't want to give that away yet, but. All right, let me get rid of that. So let's say I give you 2 points, but the y-intercept is not clear. So now I gotta think. So I'm gonna look at these 2 points, and the first thing I'm gonna think about is the slope. So the x value goes from -5 all the way to 10. So if I were to count that out, I'd find that the x value changes by 15. So I know my run is gonna be 15. My y value goes from 5 down to 2. So really that's going down 3 spaces. So I'm going to have -3. Well, now that I have my slope with my x, notice how my angle is correct. Now it's a chance for me to kind of take a guess for now. Like what y-intercept is going to work. So if I did +1, well, it's a little bit closer, but now it only crosses at 1. Clearly that's not going to work. So let me take another guess. Maybe it's going to cross at 3. I'm just going to change that to a +3. Closer. +4. There we go. So in the case where I don't give you the y-intercept, you can still do it. You're just going to have to use your reasoning after you find the slope. All right, that should set you up pretty well for today. So let me just talk about that briefly here. All right. So opening it now. If we take a look at your assignment for today, bring that in here. All right. So you have, everybody's got to do all problems. There's no challenge standard mix. You'll have that tomorrow during in-person. But all this is asking you to do is, same thing, find the slope, find the y-intercept, write me an equation. I'll ask you a couple reasoning questions. I'll have you write a couple more equations, and then I'm going to ask you to think a little bit differently. So nothing crazy. Should be pretty straightforward, but if you have questions, let me know. And always remember that you have a work check at the end, so you should be able to verify your solutions. All right, good luck.